You know what nobody tells you about getting old? It's not the body falling apart. That's expected. It's the silence. I sit in this house now and the silence is so thick I could cut it with a knife. My daughter calls it peaceful. She doesn't understand. Peace is what you choose. Silence is what's left when everything else is gone. I'm 82 years old. My heart beats on borrowed time and my hands shake when I hold my coffee. But my mind is as sharp as it's ever been. And that's the cruelest part, because I remember everything. There's a watch in my drawer upstairs, a Rolex. I bought it in 1987. I remember the day perfectly. I just closed the Henderson deal, 6 months of negotiations, the biggest contract our firm had ever landed. I walked into that jeweler's on Fifth Avenue feeling like I owned the world. Spent more on that watch than most people made in a year. I wore it every single day for 30 years. You want to know something funny? I can't remember the last time I looked at it to actually check the time. Not once. I looked at it to feel successful, to remind myself I'd made it, to show other people in meetings that I was someone who mattered. That watch sits in a drawer now. Battery died in 2019. I never replaced it. But you know what I can't find? I can't find a single photograph of my son's 8th birthday. I know we had a party. I have this fragment of a memory, but I'm not in that memory. I'm not there because I was at the office that Saturday finalizing the Henderson deal. I traded my son's 8th birthday for a watch I don't wear. And I didn't even know I was making that trade at the time. My wife's name was Margaret. She died 4 years ago, pancreatic cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to the end. We were married for 63 years. 63 years. And I'm sitting here now trying to count how many dinners we actually had together. Really together. Not accusing, just honest. Not me with a newspaper. Not her talking while I was thinking about work. Actually, together. I remember her kitchen. She'd hum while she cooked. Old songs from the 50s, usually. She had this way of dicing onions. Fast, precise, like a chef. I used to watch her hands and think about how much I loved those hands. But I didn't watch often enough. There was a period, it had to be 15 years, maybe more, where I came home after she'd already eaten. I'd say, "Don't wait for me. I'll heat something up later." I thought I was being considerate, didn't want her to wait around. She waited anyway. For years she waited. Set my place at the table even when I called to say I'd be late. Eventually, she stopped setting it. And I barely noticed when she did. You know what she said to me near the end? She was in the hospital bed, barely conscious. I was holding her hand. She opened her eyes and looked right at me. She said, "You're here." Not angry, not resentful, just realization, just surprised. I was there. Finally, I was there. And it was too late for it to matter. I built a library in our house. Custom shelves, floor to ceiling, mahogany, cost me a fortune. I had this whole idea that I was going to read all the classics, all the books I never had time for when I was building the business. I pictured myself in retirement, leather chair, good whiskey, finally becoming the educated man I always thought I'd be. You know how many of those books I've actually read? 11 books out of maybe 300. I kind of built a monument to the person I thought I was going to become, and then I never became him. I'll walk past those shelves every day, and honestly, each one feels like a little accusation. War and Peace, never opened it. The Brothers Karamazov, got through maybe 50 pages. Remembrance of Things Past. The title alone feels like it's mocking me now. I spent 30 years saying when I retire. When I retire, I'll travel. When I retire, I'll read. When I retire, I'll learn Italian. When I retire, I'll spend real time with the grandkids. Then I retired. And you know what happened? I was tired. Not physically, spiritually. I'd spent so long running toward retirement that I forgot to figure out what it was for. I'd saved all this living for later, and when later came, I'd forgotten how to do it. When the grandkids came over sometimes, I'd sit there and they'd talk about school, friends, things that excited them, and I'd realize I didn't know how to connect. I'd spent so many years in conference rooms that I didn't know how to just be with them. I'd become fluent in a language nobody in my family spoke. There's a photograph on my mantle. Margaret and me, 1959. We're at Coney Island. She's laughing, mouth wide open, head thrown back, pure joy. I'm looking at her, not at the camera. Some stranger took that photo for us. He said, "You two look like you're in love." We were. God, we were so in love. I look at that photograph now and I try to remember what her laugh sounded like. Really sounded like. And I can't. I remember that it made me happy. I remember the feeling of it. But the actual sound is faded. There were years, good years, mind you, where I thought love was about providing, about being successful enough that she never had to worry. She never cared about any of that. There was a Tuesday, because that was my long day at the office. She called me around 3 p.m. "Come home early," she said. I want to show you something. I told her I couldn't, had a meeting. She said it could wait. I didn't come home early. You know what she wanted to show me? The garden. The tomatoes had finally ripened. First time she'd grown them successfully. She was so proud. By the time I home at 9, she'd already picked them. Made sauce the moment it passed. She never mentioned it, never complained. But I saw it in her face, this little dimming, this little dim. And that happened over and over, hundreds of times, thousands maybe. Not all at once, not intentionally, but slowly I chose other things. And she felt it. She had to have felt it. My son, he doesn't visit much. He's busy, I get that, I really do. He's got his own life now, his own kids, his own career. I don't blame him. But I also know something else. I taught him that being busy was the same thing as being important. 3 years ago, I had a stroke. Minor one, that's what they called it. Still landed me in the hospital for 4 days, second day. He came on the second day, stayed maybe an hour. I remember watching him more than I remember the room. He kept checking his phone, not even trying to hide it. Work thing, he said. Sorry, Dad, work thing. I wanted to tell him something. I wanted to reach out, grab his hand and say, stop, put the phone down, stay with me. But I didn't, because his whole life, I'd send him work things mattered more than people things. He learned from the master. I was lying there in that hospital bed and I had this horrible clarity, like someone finally turned the lights on. I wasn't just watching my son visit me, I was watching him become me. Same drive, same ambition. Same belief that there's always time for family, later. And I couldn't warn him, not without admitting that I'd done it all wrong. What kind of man teaches his son how to succeed and forgets to teach him how to live? I spend a lot of time looking out my window now. There's a young couple across the street, maybe in their 30s. They've got a little boy, can't be more than 4. Yesterday, I watched the father come home from work. The boy ran to him, full sprint, turns like you're on the lawn. Arms wide open. The father dropped his briefcase right there on the lawn and scooped him up. They stayed like that for maybe 10 seconds, just holding each other, 10 seconds. I sat here and cried because I can't remember doing that. Now, no, I must have. You don't raise a child without holding him, but I can't remember it. It wasn't important enough to save. I saved the Henderson deal instead. The promotions, the awards, the accomplishments, all the things that disappeared the moment they happened. You know what lasts? The way Margaret's hand felt in mine. That lasts. The sound of my son calling me daddy before he grew up and it became dad. That lasts. The smell of Sunday morning pancakes. The weight of my daughter when she fell asleep on my chest. The first time my grandson told me he loved me. Those are the things that last. And I have so few of them because I was always somewhere else. Physically present sometimes, maybe. But mentally, I was in tomorrow. I was in next week. I was in 5 years from now. Tomorrow is a thief. It steals today by making you believe it's more important. I don't know how much time I have left. Could be a year, could be 5 years if I'm lucky. Doesn't really matter. What matters is this: I was given a life, a real, actual, one-time only life, same as you. And I spent most of it waiting for it to start. I waited to be successful enough, rich enough, secure enough, accomplished enough. I waited to have time, to have energy, to have permission. And while I waited, life was happening, right in front of me, every single day. Margaret was there. My children were there. Sunsets were there. Morning coffee was there. The feeling of rain on my face was there. All of it was there. And I was somewhere else, planning, striving, preparing for a life I was already living. If I could go back, God, I'd give anything for that. I wouldn't change careers. I wouldn't chase different achievements. I'd just pay attention. I'd put my briefcase down on the lawn and hold my son for 10 seconds. I'd come home early to see the tomatoes. I'd memorize Margaret's laugh while I still could. I'd collect moments instead of things, because things break, things fade, things get left in drawers with dead batteries. But moments are the only currency that matters. And I spent mine poorly. You're young. Maybe you don't feel young, but you are. You still have time. Not infinite time. Nobody has that. But you have today, and maybe tomorrow, and maybe the day after that. Don't do what I did. Please don't save your life for later. Don't trade the people you love for the things you want. Don't wait until you're 82 sitting in silence to realize that the silence was yours all along. You were always free to choose differently. I just wish I'd known that sooner.